kayak, gone are the days. Alright, they're playing with Jimmy and Tom. Yippee-ki-yo, kayak, gone are the days. We're living and being with Daddy and Mom. They have the old records of Hoppy and Gene. They've got that country feeling, you know what I mean. Every time I hear them.
Hi, welcome. Welcome to It Takes a Village. I'm your host, Bonnie Blomfield. I am delighted today. We have a very, very special guest. And our guest is Mark Haas Amans. And hello, Mark. How are you?
Fine, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm so delighted that you could be here with us. You have such an illustrious history. And he has been a road manager and many, many things in the music world. And you can tell us about what you've been up to.
Well, I was on the road for 19 years, and I worked for a lot of major acts on tours.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the Who's first major tour in '67.
Wow.
It was with the Herman's Hermits, the Who, and the Blues Magoos. And that one was, I think, about 64 days on the road. And then I did Paul Revere and the Raiders on and off for about 10 years.
Wow.
And the first time that I worked with them was, I did about from 1966 into '67.
Mm-hmm.
And then I worked with other groups as I got up, and then I'd come back, and then I'd take the Raiders back out somewhere on their tour,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd come back and take somebody else out on their tour, and on and on and on. And this points out some of the groups that I worked with.
The
the Stars.
Wailers, Wolfman, Jack, Cat Stevens, Herman Surratt.
Cat Stevens was in 1972,
Wow.
and that was his first major tour, also in the United States.
Uh-huh.
The Who had been here before, but it was a promotional tour. It wasn't a major tour for the public.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you're called a manager, sometimes a roadie. Can you describe what you did?
I started out in Washington State in 1962, and back in that day, I worked for a group called the Viceroys out of Seattle, and then another group called the Wailers in Tacoma.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an area where we played. The circuit was all of the state of Washington, all of the state of Oregon, all the state of Idaho, all the state of Montana, and British Columbia.
Wow.
And we worked that circuit all the time.
Uh-huh.
Mainly copy material, but they did have some originals that they play as well.
Interesting.
And back in the day, that we weren't called roadies because no one had that name yet. They were called band boys.
Aha.
Then it went from band boys to roadies, and then the roadies are answered to the road manager, and then there's a tour manager.
Uh-huh.
And I was Wolfman Jack's tour manager.
Wow,
So-
exciting.
I was in charge of everybody and everything.
So that's like lighting and the plane flights. And I heard one of your recordings, you were in charge of the money
Oh yeah.
and all kinds of things.
Yeah, a lot of times we got paid in cash from the promoter, and I had a 4-day weekend, and I couldn't go to the bank to deposit the money to send it back to LA,
Uh-huh.
and so I had $185,000 in cash,
Oh, no.
and I went and bought a suitcase, threw it all in the suitcase, and put it on my bed and slept with it that night.
Oh, my goodness. That's amazing.
And then on a Tuesday, I went and deposited the money and sent it back home.
Wow, you must have been so trusted, and that's so much responsibility.
A lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Herman Hermits tour, we had our own aircraft. It was a DC-6, and that's the way to do it.
Wow.
Because you don't have to go through the terminal, you don't have to mess with the people involved. Your plane stops at a different location than where the terminal is,
Yeah.
and you can unload right out of the plane right into the truck.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Those things matter, huh?
yeah.
Huh.
This is the book here
Uh-huh.
that's out, Where the Action Was, and it's been getting a lot of good reviews, and a lot of people are telling me it should be a movie because it's full of history.
I think it's very, very exciting. It's on Amazon.com, right?
I think so, yeah.
Uh-huh. And I think that would make a fabulous movie. Just the names of all the people that you've actually been very close to.
Right.
You told me a story, or I heard it on the radio program about you, about I think you saved someone from drowning one day even.
It wasn't, well, yeah, it could have been.
Or something.
I made a mistake in the book. I thought it was Keith Moon from The Who. Right?
Yeah.
We were in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and I thought he jumped off the pier after the show was over, but it wasn't. It was Peter Noon.
Oh, no!
And Peter sent me an email saying, Hoss, it was me that jumped into the water. And then I went, oh, now I remember, you know.
Wow.
What it was is I was in the back of the auditorium, the gig was over, and the roadies were tearing down the equipment, and I had a clipboard, and I was clipping off a bunch of stuff on the clipboard. And so Peter Noon walks up to me and says, okay, Hoss, I'm going to go swimming. I said, swimming? What are you talking about? We're a quarter of a mile from shore. So I said, oh, okay, fine. You know, and he walked back up toward the stage and went back into the dressing room area. And then I went, going swimming? What the hell is he talking about? This is crazy. So I walked back in the dressing room and he wasn't there. And then there was this pier. On the end of the pier, there was a walkway. And I walked out like that, and I looked to my left and I looked to my right. As I looked to my right, I saw him just in time to see his hair go straight up as he dropped over the side of the pier. And it was 30 feet of water. It was 30 feet down to the water.
Was it night?
It was nighttime.
Oh, boy.
After midnight. And sharks feed at night.
Ah!
So I looked over the bench like that, and he's going, Hoss, help me, Hoss, help me. And he's hanging onto one of the big pillars, and the waves are sloshing him around, and there's barnacles on the pillar.
Ow, ow.
Yeah. So I had a roadie that used to be a lifeguard, and I sent the guy back in to get the roadie that was tearing down the stage. He came out and I said, "Okay, Gil, you got to take your clothes off. You got to jump in the water and you got to drag him to shore." What?
Multitask.
And so, okay, he did. Here he was in his underpants, and he jumps over the side 30 feet to the water, and he did get him back into the deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they say musicians can get a little wild.
More than that.
And then some, huh?
This briefcase that I have here. Excuse me. I've had it since 1965.
Wow.
With the Raiders. And we'd change planes, like we'd landed at O'Hare International, and we'd change aircraft, and we had to go to another terminal to get the new airplane. And we used to play a game kind of like bowling on the green. And we had this briefcase, and you throw it, and it slides on the walkway. And when it stops and falls over, we can see who's went the furthest. You know? Had a little game we played, you know.
Oh my goodness.
And then this was the Hoss hat that gave me the name Hoss.
Wow.
The reason why they called me Hoss was Mark Lindsay, the lead singer of Paul Green Raiders. His name was Mark. My name was Mark. Revere would say Mark, and two heads would turn. And so that got to be kind of confusing. We were in Love Field in Dallas, Texas at the time. We walked by this Western shop, and Mark says, "Oh, look at the cowboy hats." And we went in there and picked this one out. And it's a little bit to be worn, but here it is, and I got it in 1965.
Wow.
And that's the same kind of Hoss hat that Dan Blocker wore on the TV show.
Right, right.
I met Dan Blocker, too.
Oh my goodness.
He was bigger than me.
Amazing.
And I'm 6'4" and 220 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a hell of an experience. I mean, it's unbelievable about the traveling time. In 1966 with the Raiders, we did these tours called Dick Clark Caravan and Star Tours. And they had 8 to 10 groups, and each group had a hit record. The Byrds were on the deal. The We Five were on the deal. On and on and on. All these different groups were on these shows, but the Raiders always headlined the show.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was really something.
So you met Dick Clark?
Oh, I worked with Dick Clark.
Oh, that's so neat.
Yeah, it was.
I heard he was wonderful.
The nicest guy in the business. And Dick, one time we were in New Orleans, and we were in an area where we had 3,000 people on this side, and the stage went across like this, and on this side there was 9,000 people.
Wow.
And the stage revolved with people on it. Dick walks out to introduce the groups to play, and the crowd jumped up and mauled him.
Oh no.
And he was down on the deck,
Oh wow.
and they're all blah, 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 on top of him. And I
Jesus.
ran out and started pulling little girls off of Dick Clark, and finally rescued him, pulled him out, and we pulled him off to the back to the side.
Oh my goodness.
And then he wanted to go back out, and he says, "Hoss, you got to go with me."
Yeah.
So I walked out with him, and I had my Hoss hat on,
Uh-huh.
and nobody jumped on the stage when I was out there.
Amazing.
Isn't that something?
That's great. Yeah. Wow.
So I've been doing a lot of radio interviews and
Uh-huh.
different things to promote my book.
Uh-huh.
I'm getting a lot of good results from it as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
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 Incredible.
Where the Action is a program that Dick Clark had on TV.
Mhm.
The Raiders were the headliners of the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
In 1966, I did 311 concerts.
311 in 1 year?
Yeah, with the Raiders.
That's almost every day.
It was something.
Wow. Grueling. Grueling.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So,
Oh, let's see now. I heard that you had some things that happened with some fans one time. Something was with a glass door or something like that.
we were in Fargo, North Dakota with the Raiders on a Dick Clark tour. And after the Raiders got finished playing, everybody used to just run to the dressing room because the crowd would come out of their seats and try to get to the guys.
Yeah.
Every night that it was that way. I mean, every single night they were trying to get a hold of the guys. And so they ran out, and Mark had this idea, okay, we were staying in the Holiday Inn, here's where we had the gig, here's a parking lot and a highway over here. And Mark says, let's run to the hotel and get in front of the crowd before they get out of the building. So we come out to the back, and there was already about 2,000 people waiting for us
Oh
that
no!
couldn't get into the show in the first place, and they were waiting in the back to see if they could see us go into the bus.
Wow.
So we opened the door, and the door slammed, and here was 2,000 people screaming at Mark Lindsay and me.
And you're locked out?
And yeah, couldn't get back in the building.
Oh
And
no!
we took off running across the parking lot, and all these people were behind us screaming and yelling. Sounded like a big monster behind us. And we went across the parking lot, went across the street, down across this hill into the grass area, and turned right to go into the Holiday Inn, and there was a big plate glass window and a big glass door, and there was a police officer up on the second floor to guard us when we got to our rooms.
If you could get there, huh?
So what we did is we started to run, and I opened the door, and Mark ran through the deal, and I had a hold of him by his belt, on his back end, in case he fell. I'd have to drag him, before they got to us. And he ran in the door, and I ran in the door shut, and crash. This little girl ran right through the plate glass window.
Oh no!
Yeah, down it went.
Wow!
It cut her. It looked like
Oh,
somebody.
ow.
It looked like somebody had cut her with a straight razor from the shoulder across her chest down to her hip bone.
Oh, how
Blood
awful.
was everywhere.
Oh, dear.
I've had first aid, so I was trying to pinch off the artery that was bleeding. I yelled at the cop to call an ambulance and more help for police,
Yeah.
and he did.
Jeez.
But for 2 days later, well, not even 2 days later, the ambulance got there, and they got a hold of her, and the guy looked at me and says, "You saved her life,"
Oh my goodness.
because I had pinched off the artery and on the blood, and there was
Yeah.
blood all over me.
Oh,
I mean, it
dear.
was squirting like a squirt gun.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was real bad. So the ambulance took her to the hospital. 2 days later, the promoter called us and said that she's okay.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Imagine running through a plate glass window.
Unbelievable.
Oh, terrible.
Thank goodness you were there. I don't know if there were that many people that would have the nerve or courage or education in first aid.
Well, up in Olympia, Washington, my dad was a Washington State Patrolman, and he was a lieutenant and taught at the academy. And I used to go with him a lot to the academy, and I took their classes when I was 18 years old.
So you got educated.
Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
definitely.
Wow. Well, you seem to have worn so many hats in so many situations.
Versatility is the name of the
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you must have been really someone that had a sense of confidentiality and loyalty, and really someone to rely on.
Yeah.
I mean, the kind of responsibility that you had is really tremendous.
Yeah, it was.
Really exciting.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, let's see here. So tell me, Mark, were there any time during your work when maybe you were at night lying in bed and thinking, oh my goodness, this is just too much?
It was the what did they call it? British invasion, right? They had the Beatles, they had the Rolling Stones, and a few other groups from England. And Dick Clark is the one that picked up on the Raiders because Paul Revere was an American that warned everybody when the landing of the British.
Right.
And here they are wearing these three-cornered hats and the costumes and everything, and he picked it out because it was a deterrent from the British invasion, and here's Paul Revere holding it back for the Americans. And he announced that on his program a few times too, that whole thing.
Huh, interesting. So, was there kind of a little sense of rivalry between the American bands and the
Not at
British
all.
bands?
Not at all. Everybody was
Had fun?
Yeah, had fun. As far as laying in bed and wondering about all this, generally I wasn't alone.
So you were occupied.
Yeah.
I see.
So and
Interesting.
That got out of hand after about 10 years.
Oh dear. Mark, I have another question, and that is, it seems today the music seems a little less vibrant, if you will.
Well, there's two answers to that. One is in the beginning of rock and roll, nobody knew what rock and roll was until some guy went 4/4 time in a jazz band down in New Orleans in 1960 or wherever it was. And keep in mind too that every generation has their kind of music, and that's why the music today isn't versatile. It's basically all of it sounds a lot to the same as the next guy.
It seems so strange.
It is. And the groups from the evolution of rock and roll, you'd have like Paul Revere and the Raiders, the Blues Magoos, and on and on and on.
Amazing.
Different types of rock and roll.
Were you aware that you were right in the midst of a kind of cultural revolution?
There wasn't time to think about that.
You were occupied.
I belonged to the 100,000 Mile Club for United in 1966.
Wow.
We flew more than airline crews. And that just gives you an idea how busy you are.
Yeah.
There's more moving going on when you're not on stage.
Wow.
Getting to the next stage. I did bus tours for Dick Clark Caravan Star Tours, and in the beginning we had no beds in them. They were all you had to sit up and sleep.
Oh dear.
And then later we started putting beds in the charter buses.
Yeah.
But now one night we'd play and we had a 900-mile shot to go to the next town on a bus.
Oh dear.
Had to be there the next day, so we'd drive all night.
Oh dear. Tell me, I always kind of wondered, why do they have to pack in so many events? Couldn't they leave a couple days in between for people to rest up? Or?
The answer to that is money.
Oh, that makes sense.
They make
a lot of money.
Here these guys come out of Idaho, 6 months later they're all millionaires.
Yeah.
I mean, wait a minute, there goes their ego right out the uncontrollable, bang.
So did you witness people who were just beginning and really excited to be doing what they were doing, and then all of a sudden you see kind of a huge ego happening?
There was a Dick Clark tour where the We Five was on the show, and they had the #1 hit record on the charts.
Wow.
So this girl that was in the band said, well, we want to close the show. We want to be the headliners. And Paul said, I don't care, we'll open the show. We don't care when we play. So they went ahead the first night and they played the last song and the last group on stage. Top billing, right? And the Raiders played. After the Raiders played, most all the people got up and left. So here they were on stage with half a house full of people wondering who they are.
But they got their way.
Well, she changed her mind after that, and the Raiders were then the headliners.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting.
You run into a lot of egos.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, a lot of different things happened.
Well, that's just absolutely fabulous. We're just so glad that you had this time with us, and Santa Barbara has a new person that's really exciting, and so I certainly feel more educated, and I so appreciate that you came to speak with us.
Well, thank you.
So it takes a village. Remember, we're Santa Barbara. It's your village. We have lots of wealth, lots of things, but also remember, every night there are children that go to bed hungry in Santa Barbara. Let's help with them. So thank you. It Takes a Village. Hi, I'm Bonnie from It Takes a Village. We're here on Ortega and Santa Barbara Street. What have we discovered? It's a Steve Nipper company. Let's go in and check it out. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Hi, Bonnie. I'm great. Thanks for stopping in today.
All right. What's going on around here?
Well, we're here at Soul Wave, where we make people's water better.
All right. And I'll say that you have a pretty good reputation in this town. How did you earn that?
Well, with 23 years of service to the community and doing a good job and standing behind what we do, that's what we've earned.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. And I just want to thank you, Bonnie, for helping us support It Takes a Village. We couldn't be happier.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Take care. And so we learned more about Santa Barbara. We have a company that helps the economy of people because of their prices, and they help your good health with good water. Very, very important. Thank you, Steve Nipper at Soul Wave.
Hi, I'm Chris Jensen from Jensen Guitar and Music Company, and I'm proud to sponsor It Takes a Village. And just so you know where we are, here's my card.
It started out one Saturday night at the Condor. You told me you didn't love me anymore. We started picking up the pace, then much to our disgrace, the bartender said, "Will you all kindly leave?" Ha, ha, yeah, yes, I'm over you. Ha, ha, yeah, yes, I'm over you. Ha, ha, yeah, yes, I'm over you. And I'm thanking God that I'm over you. We went on over to your mom's trailer condo. Pretty soon, a coffee table flew. Well, the neighbors, they called the cops. They made it stop. And then your dog bit off my shoe. Ha, ha, yeah, yes, I'm over you. Ha, ha, yeah, yes, I'm over you. Ha, ha, yeah, yes, I'm over you. And I'm thanking God that I'm over you. I'm over you. Ha, ha, yeah, yes, I'm over you. Ha, ha, yeah, yes, I'm over you. the story is there is no moral. I'll leave that to those folks on Fox News. Another man might have been angry, another man might have been blue. Me, I just went out and bought some shoes. Ha, ha, yeah, yes, I'm over you. Ha, ha, yeah, yes, I'm over you. Ha, ha, yeah, yes, I'm over you. I do. And I'm thanking God that I'm over you. They're playing with Jimmy and Tom. Yippee-ki-yo-ki-yay, gone are the days of living and being with Daddy and Mom. They have your records of hockey and cheese. They've got that country feeling